Hello, everyone, and welcome along to this live webinar. And today I'm joined by Simi, our head of Buy-to-Let Mortgages, the director of Buy-to-Let Mortgages at Landlord. And we have a very interesting webinar for you today. I will share the agenda in 1 second. Simi, hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. So let's go over the agenda for today. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, so we will start with a market update by Simi about what's going on in the market about mortgages, lenders, interest rates, and more. Then I will do a platform overview highlighting some new features. We actually released some new features that are also relevant to the Renters' Right Act, and we are working also enhancing the Making Tax digital capabilities, so you will be ready on time if you need to register to MTD. Then we discuss a bit about AI, and I will introduce the new AI features that can help you source properties in a smarter way, also estimate refurb costs, and also to get summaries of listings and deal analysis cases. Then we will also discuss bridging finance and how you can apply and see and explore basically your options for bridging finance. And then in the end, we'll have a session for questions and answers. So feel free to ask any question. You can put your questions on the chat. If it's relevant, we can answer as we go. If not, we will have the time in the end of the webinar. As always, during webinars, we are running special promotions. And today we offer 50% on our premium plans for this webinar time. Let me, Ksenia, if you can put the details on how you can apply for the discount on the chat, and I will, no, I think, yeah, Ksenia, I think the coupon code is not the right one. It should be Feb webinar. So I will show you how to do it basically. 1 second. So from your Landlord account, go to the settings page. On the plan details, click upgrade. Then on the coupon field, enter the value Feb webinar, click apply coupon, and you will get both premium plans with 50% off for this webinar time. There are so many valuable features in the premium plans and also some benefits if you apply for finance. So you have now opportunity to get it with a discount. All right, so let's start with the market update. So Simi, over to you.
Yep. So good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. As Avram mentioned, my name is Simi and I'm the director of Buy-to-Let Mortgages at Landlord Finance, which is the broker arm of Landlord. So in its latest meeting earlier this month, the Monetary Policy Committee kept the base rate at 3.75% following a close 5-4 vote. It is looking like a positive outcome for a cut on the 19th of March. This is driven by inflation falling to 3% in January, down from 3.4% in December. The main factors being food, fuel prices, and also airfares. Economists said that the fall in inflation raised the likelihood that the Bank of England will cut interest rates in its meeting in March, and the Office for National Statistics said that the marked fall in January took inflation to its lowest rate since March 2025, which is really positive. Although the rate of inflation has fallen, prices themselves are not coming down, but simply rising at a slower pace. So a rise in inflation means that people are having to spend more on everyday costs, and a fall in inflation means overall prices are rising more slowly than in previous months. The Bank of England has a target for inflation, which is 2%, and the bank moves interest rates up and down to try and keep inflation at that level. So if inflation is rising too quickly, the Bank of England will increase interest rates to encourage less spending. When the Bank of England lifts or cuts interest rates, it can have a mixed effect. So a lower interest rate means people with a mortgage will have lower monthly payments if you're on a tracker, for example. But it can also mean that savers will get a worse return on their money, which impacts the housing market as many people rely on savings for deposits. So economists have said regarding these recent figures that they make a spring interest rate cut look almost assured, though a lingering question among policymakers will be whether to pull the trigger in March or April, as some may want slightly more evidence of easing inflation before reducing interest rates. So if we could move to the next slide. So how do lenders determine interest rates? So there's two main factors, which is the central bank rate, which is the base rate set by the Bank of England, and also swap rates. So the Bank of England base rate is the official rate set by the Bank of England. It's the rate that banks will pay to borrow money right now, and it only changes when the Bank of England decides. So the Bank of England meets 8 times a year, and that's when they'll review the base rate, whereas swap rates are rates set by financial markets, not the Bank of England. And swap rates will show what banks think interest rates will be in the future. So they can change every day because it's a live market, which is constantly pricing and adjusting to inflation expectations, rate expectations, and other macro factors. So this means, let's say tomorrow, if inflation expectations increase, swap rates also increase, and then mortgage rates are also likely to increase. At this stage, the base rate would remain unchanged because it waits until the review dates. So fixed rate mortgages are largely driven by swap rates. So this is what we should really keep an eye on if you're on a fixed product. But the base rate will directly impact tracker mortgages. So what we'd advise is not to wait until March 19th to see what the Bank of England does to the base rate if you are looking to refinance or purchase a property, because you can secure a rate early, as lenders' mortgage offers are valid for 3 to 6 months. The base rate, as I mentioned, will directly impact tracker or variable rate mortgages. What we do at Lendlord Finance is once an application is submitted, we'll regularly review the rate. So if a lower rate does become available, we can switch your product. That way, if the market takes an adverse turn, you've secured a rate. Next slide, please. So lender trends. This is what we're seeing lenders do in the market and what they're doing. So some lenders are reducing rates quite significantly by 0.2%. However, others are reducing carefully and very slightly. Most lenders, they will start repricing rates a few weeks prior to the base rate review in anticipation of what they think will be the outcome. So now's a great time to look into your options, because this is when lenders start moving their rates. Lenders' service levels are great at the moment. We've had limited company purchase applications go through to offer within 5 working days. And we've also had personal remortgage applications go to offer within 48 hours. So lenders are really coming through with their processing times at the moment. Competition between lenders is also increasing. We're seeing more lenders update criteria and package requirements, which is positive. Less document requirements means faster processing times, and ultimately offers being issued faster. So overall, there's a lot of positivity in the mortgage market, and hopefully we'll see a rate cut soon, and hopefully a few more in the rest of the year.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. So, and Simi, if perhaps a few words about Lendlord Finance, I can start and we'll show you that, of course, all the process is digital. You can start the process from your Lendlord account. You can see what rates are now available based on your profile, and then you can start a process to get your mortgage illustration. But of course, Simi and the team are in the background, and you can schedule calls with the team. Perhaps Simi, you can say a few more words, because I think the main specialist for us of what we do is basically buy to let, and put the links on the chat.
So Lendlord Finance was set up to essentially facilitate the mortgages for our Lendlord users. So because our user base is largely landlords, we predominantly advise on buy-to-let mortgages. We can advise on residential mortgages too, but our niche and where we sit in the market is buy-to-let. So anything from limited companies, HMOs, multi-unit blocks, anything kind of quirky, complex. This is really where we sit within the market. So we've got an understanding of what lenders will do, what they won't do, their criteria. And we've also got a really experienced team. So we've got an administrator on our team, Fraser, who just understands exactly how to package a case perfectly to give to a lender. Some of our lenders have issued offers within literally 5 days because Fraser packages the cases really well. So that is the benefit really of using a broker like Lendnode Finance, as opposed to a broker who uses both residential and who advise on residential and buy-to-let mortgages. Now, the other amazing USP is that Lendnode has a digital mortgage application where you can apply online, and you've got live visibility into the sourcing system. So you can see the rates live as of today, and they're the same rates that I can see. So you can select your product, it will do the stress test for you, and then it will show you the available rates. So here you can see the top sourcing lenders, and when you apply for that product, I'll still review everything to make sure that you meet the lender's criteria. You know, we iron out if there's going to be any issues that we might think could arise. And then we'll upload your illustration as soon as we can. And then you've got all of the product details. So you can track every stage of the application process all online. And I think one of the best features is honestly that you can see the rates live, because, you know, it holds us accountable as brokers, but also you've got full transparency of what's available.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you, Simi. I see we have some questions for Simi, but because we have a tight agenda, let's go with the agenda items, and then in the end, we will have time so Simi can answer your questions. So no worries, we will get them answered. Thanks, Simi, and we will now go to the platform overview, focusing on the new features, and then I will also focus on the AI features as well. All right. Thanks, Simi, for now. We will see you shortly.
I'm going to stay on, so I'm going to be here.
Amazing. All right. It's good. Okay. So, perhaps like a quick poll, because I think that most of you should be familiar with the Lendnode software. So if you are familiar with the Lendnode software, you already have Lendnode account, you're working with the platform, put one on the chat. If you are new to Lendnode, if you can put two, it will help me. Let's see, one. Okay, several twos. Okay, all right. Okay, good stuff. So let's start. Okay, so Lendnode is a one-stop shop for property investors, as you may know. It's a place to first manage your existing portfolio. On the menu, you have the Manage tab, and here you can upload your portfolios, upload your properties, manage the data on each property, also due dates, compliance, everything. You have the My Documents page, which is the best, I think, place to be organized with documents. Imagine that you need to share information about your portfolio with your family or with partners. If you store everything on Lendnode, you have all the property details in hand. Also, all the documents for each property, you can store all the documents you need. You can also store on other levels. So if you have common files or specific files for your own, you can also store them there. And you can also send documents for signature or share documents with others basically in 2 clicks. The mileage tracker can help you track business trips and share it with your accountant. We have a very enhanced tenants functionality, and I will share it in a sec because of the Renters' Rights Act. We are doing some changes. And of course, you can also manage your accounting by linking your bank accounts, apply bank rules to automate your cash flow, and also generate P&L reports. Okay, so this is the manage section. The invest section, this is the part to source properties. So we have hundreds of thousands of properties from estate agents, which you can filter and also use the sourcing with AI feature that I will show you shortly. The auctions tab, here you can find auction lots from many auction houses, online auction houses all around the UK. Now, with the premium plan, you can get more information about each property, and you can also go to the auction website to place a bid. Property categories it's a more specific search based on a category. You start with the category type, then an address and a radius from this address. and then you search for properties in this area that should answer this specific category, and you can get a link to the portal that this property is being listed. And then if you want to analyze this deal, just click on the Chrome extension of Landlord. If you don't have it, Ksenia, if you are with us, if you can put the Chrome extension link so people can download it, because it's very useful. Then you just select what strategy you want to analyze this specific listing, and it will take you to the deal analyzer, extracting all the information from the Rightmove page, including the property details, key features, and photos. So basically you have everything in Landlord, but you can also analyze the deal and see if the numbers stack up, how much cash investment you need to put, return on capital deployed, the net annual cash flow, the long-term IRR, and you can play with the numbers. But you can see that the platform took the price from the listing, which this was the listing 115, and also estimated the rental income, and you can also run the future analysis in different scenarios. This is the deal analyzer. You can also apply sourcing alerts with Landlord. This is part of the premium plan, and then define your search criteria. So you can just start with an address, radius from this address, and price range, and you can also select property types that you're interested in. And starting this point, every time the platform identify property that matches your criteria, you should get a notification to the notification sidebar and to your email. All right, so now I want to introduce you with some new features that can help you with the Renters' Rights Act. So the first, on the tenant section, the communication tab. So until today, we supported maintenance reports. So your tenants, or even you as a landlord, were able to open a new maintenance report and manage the communication with the tenant in one place. And you can also export this communication if you want it for audit reasons. So with the Renters' Rights Act, you now need to be more organized with the communication that you had with your tenants. So if you manage all the communication from Landlord, it can actually help you also with that. And what we've added is the Conversations tab. So here, basically, you can start just a generic message to your tenants, and the tenants can reply. It's not a maintenance issue. It's just a message and a conversation that you can start with your tenant. So if you haven't invited your tenants yet, you can do it from the My Tenants page. Click Invite Tenant. Okay, this is part of the premium plan. So I think it's a good opportunity to remind you that you can get the premium plan during this webinar time with 50% off. Just put Feb webinar here. I will switch to a different account. 1 second.
I was going to add, with the discount coupon code, you also get a reduction on fees. So, for example, if you take out a bridging loan with us or a mortgage, you'll also get a discount on our broker fee as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can't do it right now with this account, but basically, invite a tenant. It's quite an easy process. The platform will ask you who is the tenant, if you want to share documents with the tenant, and there are some documents that you need to share, you will be able to do it. And then your tenant will receive an email with an invitation link. They will sign up to their own dashboard, and they will also be able to review the payment schedule, get notifications on their rent payments, and also reports maintenance issues, or start a conversation with you. Another thing that we have changed based on the Renters' Rights Act is the tenancy agreement generator. So now you can generate a assured periodic tenancy agreement, which should be aligned with the new rules. You just select the tenant. So on Landlord, you can also manage prospect tenants, applicants. So you first define it on My Tenants page, and then you can generate the report for this tenant. As you can see, there is the notice period and the tenant notice period, which you can change. And then you can get the agreement. You can manage the sections if you want to add sections or change some text or remove sections or just change the order. You can do it as well. And then once you're happy, you can send it to your tenant for auto signature. So this is something that is very powerful. From one platform, you can deal with all the tenancy agreements and send for signature by the landlord and by the tenant. On My Documents page, by the way, you can send any document for signature, electronic signature, and then basically you will be on the My Documents signed documents, you will be able to see it here. And you can see the status of the signatures. Once it's signed from both sides, you will get a notification and you will see the signed agreement. So it's like you have a DocuSign inside Landlord, which you can use, which is very powerful. Yeah, if we have questions, I will answer them in the end. Okay. Another feature that we've added is in the reports page. And this is the comparison to our previous periods. So if you manage your transactions on Landlord and manage your cash flow, and so you can generate the P&L reports. Let's take some time back, okay? Then now you can compare this specific period. Now I chose the last financial year with the previous periods. So you can see the comparison in one table, and it depends on the period. So if I select this quarter, I can compare it with 4 quarters. If I select a month, I can compare it with the previous 4 months. So I think it's also valuable to make sure your income and expenses are in line with previous periods. So now you can do it on the report section under the accounting tab. All right, so now let's go to speak about the AI features quickly. All right, so first, we introduced Landlord AI several months ago. So Landlord AI is still here and can help you do many things. It's connected to your Landlord account. So it's like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, but instead of taking the data to ChatGPT and ask the questions, you have it connected to your Landlord account. So you can ask questions about your properties, about your cash flow. You can summarize things, you can compare to properties, and you can do other stuff as well. So I will show you the things that already here on the sourcing tabs. For instance, if I'm now reviewing a property listing, I can click on Summarize with AI, and I can get a summary of this listing. And of course, I can ask follow-up questions if I want. The second feature is AI refurb estimation. So this is a specific flow that we are training on an ongoing basis. It will ask you several questions about the plans for the refurbishment, but it also look at this specific property and the location, of course, and the state of the property. it will ask you some questions and ask you to answer by numbers just to make it easier. And then after you answer the questions of Landlord AI, you will get the estimation for the refurb costs, the assumptions, and the breakdown. Then you can also get a timeline for this refurbishment plan. But it's like ChatGPT, so you can keep asking questions, refining the results, and the main advantage is that it is connected to your Landlord account. Another new AI feature is on the on-market properties. So now you can source properties by prompt. So for instance, find detached house properties with a garden below 300K. It's still in beta, so not all the time it works, but yeah, this time I got this property. Then you can be more specific. For instance, if you want a specific location, for instance, in Leeds. So it will always fetch the best 10 results, okay? So if you want, you can refine the prompt and then get more accurate results.
What I would just add on the AI feature, because I think this is a really useful tool, that if you're stuck between going for bridging or a mortgage, the feature can really help kind of confirm what works need to be done, the extent of them, and which route to go down. So I think that's a really good feature because we often hear clients, take bridging loans where they could maybe get a mortgage, or vice versa. They think it might not need that much work and then they get a declined mortgage. So I think it's a really useful feature in that way.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm not like at this stage, it will not replace the detailed schedule of works, but it will definitely provide you with indication about what the cost of works may be. It also look at the location and try to give you the cost per this location and this area. So yeah, totally agree with Simi here. Yeah, so my recommendation is just try use it and also give us your feedback using the chat box in the app, and we'd love to get your feedback and keep enhancing the platform. Our goal is to add more and more AI features that will also help you do things, not just advice or provide information.
Yeah, I think it's a saving time element as well. I mean, I personally can't live without, AI. It's just the best tool ever. So I think the time saving element is fantastic.
Yeah, and the good thing is it's integrated to your account. For instance, on any listing, you can contact the agent, okay? This is like another feature that we have. So you can just click on send email, and then if you're not happy with the text, click on rephrase with AI, and then Landlord AI can help you rephrase, refine this email, and then you can basically shape the message to the agent. So you can do many things. You can also summarize your existing properties or compare two properties or two prospect properties on the deal analyzer and more. All right, so before we go to the questions and answers, which I see that we have several on the chat, I will show you the bridging finance options. So yeah, bridging finance, how to use short-term loans to secure deals. So in general, bridging finance is needed when a mortgage, I would say, Simi, it's not achievable, but at this stage, it's not achievable. Why? Either you need to complete very quick the deal, like for instance, an auction purchase where you need to complete the purchase in 4 to 6 weeks, or if the property is not habitable, like you need to perform some kind of refurbishment. Am I right, Simi?
That's exactly it. That's exactly the way I explain it to my clients. It's if you can't go down the bridging route, if you've got a property that's not habitable, it's not mortgageable, or it's a time critical deal. So, auction purchase, if it's like 28 days completion, probably not viable for a mortgage. So bridging is, short-term lending to acquire the property, add all the value, and then refinance. A mortgage is more long-term lending, when you've got a ready-made property ready to go.
Exactly. So on Landlord, you have also bridging finance options. You can either go to the finance tab and click on bridging finance and answer a quick questionnaire to get indicative terms, or you can do it from the deal analyzer, for instance, if you want to see what finance options you have in order to fund this specific deal, click on finance this deal, and then you should see the two tabs. One is the mortgage option or the bridging option. Then if you click proceed, you will need just to complete the questionnaire. Some important things to pay attention to is that we do lend the product that we can offer through the platform supports more than 75% of the purchase price, actually up to 90% of the purchases, but just if the market value is higher, the current market value. So in case you were able to secure a below market value property, then you can put a higher number here and get more than 75% of the purchase price.
What I'd also add is where it says click proceed for the mortgages or bridging, no credit checks done at that stage. This is to get your indicative options. So although proceed does seem quite formal and serious that you're going to proceed with the product, there's no credit checks or anything at that stage. So it's just to get the indicative options.
Yes, absolutely. Then we also offer funding for the refurbishment. So you just need to click yes here. And then the platform will calculate for you how much you can get as a refurbishment funding facility. Then a few more questions. Then you can see some indicative initial figures, but click proceed. As Simi mentioned, nothing is not binding here. Credit search is not running in the background. Just to proceed to get the indicative terms. Basically, at this stage, we will need to see some more information. If it's an auction, what is the auction date, the property activity. You can review the inquiry details and then click proceed. And you can see your indicative terms. So in this case, the platform offered a dynamic product, which you can pay lower interest rates if you prepay the loan early. You can see the fees and also the second advance. So you can also get terms for a second advance based on the GDV number that you put in the application. If you're happy, you can proceed to upload the documents. Not a lot, like very few documents that we need, and then the case will go to underwriting. Then you will get the terms. You can sign the terms, pay the admin and valuation fees, and then valuation and legal process will be instructed. On legal, we have products that offer dual representation, which can speed up the process. So the same solicitor represent the lender and the borrower. Also, most of the time, it also costs, like save some costs on the legal fees because you pay only one solicitor's firm, not two. And then quite quickly, you can get the funds released. So this is about bridging. I think we have some webinars on our YouTube channel. So feel free also to subscribe to our YouTube channel and get more information about the platform, about bridging, about mortgages. And now let's go to the question and answers session. So feel free to write your questions on the chat. And Sim, I think we can take it from the beginning of the chat. There are some questions for you, I think, on the mortgage side.
Yes. So this is a question from, let's have a look.
think Peter was the first one.
Yes. So what sort of timescales does it take for a HMO mortgage to go through? And if I buy a property in auction and you have 56 days to complete, is it possible to get a mortgage for it, or do you bridge first, then onto a long term afterwards? So firstly, for the timescales for a HMO mortgage, it depends on the size of the HMO and which lenders you're eligible for. Typically with HMO mortgages, there is a little bit extra underwriting, to check the licenses and so forth and the tenants. So it can take a little bit longer. In terms of the 56 days to complete, so that's around kind of 8 working weeks. It is possible to get a mortgage, but it's not guaranteed. So I think it just depends kind of how quickly your solicitors can also work, because I think for a mortgage, we could probably get you an offer for a HMO within 3 to 4 weeks, and then you probably need another 3 to 4 weeks for the conveyancing process. So again, it is risky, but it's not impossible. If the property also has a need for works or anything, probably best to go down the bridging route so that you can increase the value and then refinance it at the higher value as soon as you purchased it, because we've got lenders who'll be able to do that as soon as you've purchased it and done the works with less than 6 months ownership. So I think it just depends on the condition of the property, speed of your solicitor, and the type of HMO it is. For larger HMOs, for example, like a 7-bed, lenders do a lot more underwriting. So it's not as fast as kind of a single let application.
Okay. Bhupinder asked, what lender do you have who offer mortgages to a single freehold of a house converted into 2 units, and what rates are going at present?
So we've got lots of lenders who'll be able to do a multi-unit on a freehold block, so that's not going to be an issue. In terms of rates, we would need to have a conversation to ensure that you're eligible for our lenders. Typically with these types of properties, lenders are looking for some sort of landlord experience. They need to see an income available. So we wouldn't be able to give you the rates, but you can look online on Lendlord, and then also if you set up a call with me, I'll be able to talk you through the different options, the fees, the rates, everything you need to know about the products. But yeah, that's definitely one we can do.
Okay, Peter asked, I guess there's no mortgage in principle. Like in a residential mortgage that lasts for a few months. I think this decision in principle, perhaps.
Yeah, so same thing, mortgage in principle, agreement in principle, decision in principle, all the same things. So you can get one for a buy to let. Some lenders don't issue them for limited company mortgages. Most lenders will. So you can get them. But I think what's different between a mortgage in principle for a residential mortgage and a buy to let is on a residential mortgage, it's based on your income. Now, that doesn't change often, for example, if you're PAYE. Whereas on a buy to let, let's say you're looking at one property, but that falls through, then the rent on another property might be different to the one that we've applied for already. So for a buy to let, the affordability is based on the rental income. Now, if that property keeps changing, you're submitting multiple decision in principles. We just want to kind of avoid that. But what we will do for our clients is we'll put something in writing on letterheaded paper to make sure that, we can give you indicative options. We'll run all the stress tests. And that's normally fine for estate agents. So we're always happy for you to pass on our details to confirm your proceedability anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't stress too much.
Okay. Yeah, we have here, Damian, like 2 questions. It's a long text, so I don't know if you can summarize quickly, Simi.
I think looking at this one, for commercial mortgages, we'll need to have more information. We need to look at your landlord experience, any other commercial properties owned. So we would probably need to have a call for this one. But for the second part of your question, could we get a commercial lender based on our business plan, which we might get an advance up front? For a standard mortgage, no. You might be able to get a bridging loan on a commercial basis, which can potentially fund the works. But again, it'd be on a case-by-case basis. So that one's a little bit more detailed to be able to give you an answer now.
Yeah, so I'm attaching again on the chat the link to schedule calls. So you can schedule calls with Simi and the mortgage team, and also with Claire and the bridging team. So yeah, if like you have a more complicated question, I think the best would be just to jump on a call with Simi to get your answers. All right, so next one, I think this is for me, regarding the managed function. I have properties that I manage directly via Landlord, and others are via managing agents, okay? I sometimes struggle with what's stored on landlords versus agent. any suggestion on best practices not to duplicate stuff? Yeah, so basically we do have many users that still use the property manager letting agent, but managing the properties in terms of data, cash flow, performance documents on landlord. So I would highly recommend to enter all of your properties to the My Portfolio page. So you have everything in one place. By the way, you can also manage different owners in one landlord account, and also based on percentage on each property, you can define the ownership structure. So you can also understand, what is your level of equity. But I would first put all the information on landlord, and then if the property is managed by a letting agent, you can also put the details here.
I was going to say you could also add team members, so who can view your Lendnode account and you can update collaboratively. So one of the features is great. You can add different people who can view and edit your portfolio, and they've got different permissions. So you can also avoid duplication that way.
Absolutely. Yes. You can also define if you want them to, yeah, if you want them to actually collaborate, you can give them editor permissions, but you can also hide some parts. So for instance, if you don't want them to access your invest section, so don't tick this checkbox. If you want them just to review the manage section and perhaps only on the data management, the My Portfolio page as editor, but perhaps the task as viewer, you can also do it. My documents, perhaps as a viewer, or even you don't want to give them access to my documents. So by that, you can customize the permissions for a specific team member, and you can invite them to your landlord account. This is also part of the premium plan. So this is the time to remind you that you have, by the end of this webinar time, to upgrade with 50% discount to our premium plans. You can also get benefits when you apply for mortgages and bridging. Just go to the /premium or from the settings page to the premium plan upgrade window and enter the coupon code FEB webinar. Click apply coupon and you will get the premium plan for only 49.5 pounds for the entire year, or the premium plus for 149.5. Yeah, very valuable. So hurry up and do it. And as Simi mentioned, you can invite your team members with different permissions. If you use the top right menu, click on team members. Yeah, next question.
Are there lenders that offer refurb to let mortgage on SPV? So there are a very small handful of lenders who will. Sometimes they call it like a bridge to let product. Now, my kind of personal view on this is that although it's a great idea in the sense that everything's streamlined and you know what you're going to get at the end of the process, during that process of when you start the bridging application and do the refurb, and then you're going onto the buy to let product with that same lender, you have to secure a rate at the start of the process. So that might not necessarily be the best rate when you finish the works and what's available in the wider market. So I always think, you're kind of you're restricting your options by going down that route. I understand the kind of guarantee and the ease, but ultimately you could be paying more money over the long term. So I think it's always best to give yourself a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, Leroy asked if we have the recording. So yeah, we'll definitely send the recording of this webinar to everyone, but let me share on the chat the YouTube channel of Lendnode. I highly recommend everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we constantly publish new content in there. Either it's a short video or a more longer video. So just subscribe to the channel and you will get all the new content. All right. Mike, I've used it to review a number of auction properties I've been looking at. It is really good for confirming estimate cost to get a ceiling for bidding or on action. Thanks, Mike. This is on, I believe, on the refurb with AI feature.
That's great feedback.
Yeah, thank you.
Peter, does the AI save your question? As in, when you put the question or the property in, will it save it? You know, like ChatGPT has your history. Like, will it save the history?
Yes. So the answer is yes. So if you are on Landlord AI, if you click on this icon, you will see all the historical conversation you had with Landlord AI. So yeah, it's very similar to ChatGPT. And then on the new feature of sourcing with AI, I think it's a good suggestion for a new enhancement. Ksenia, I don't know if you are here, if you can write it down for the team, because basically we can save the previous queries prompts that you used, so you don't need to type it again. So I think it's a good catch, and we definitely implement it.
This is a good question regarding bridging. Where you say 90% of the purchase price, if the property has a higher value, is the end value after the property has been done up?
Okay, so this is important on bridging on the product that we offer. So we will, day one, you will get the advance based on the current market value before refurbishment. Okay, so what is the value of the property in its current state before you basically started the refurbishment? There are times, actually several times, that we saw it like just in the last few weeks, that there are borrowers that know how to secure a property with a lower price than the market value, and a RIC surveyor can actually approve that. And we saw several cases that this was the case. In this case, even you purchase the property, let's say at 90K, if the RIC surveyor will say, no, the property is 100K, you will get 75K, and it can potentially be at 90% of the purchase price. Okay. Now, the GDV, this is the value of the property after you complete all the works. Okay. So the second advance that our bridging product can provide will be based on the GDV, but it will not be day one. Usually it will be released at least 30 days after you purchase the property, based on a second valuation, based on the progress of the works, based on the up-to-date schedule of works. But then you can get funds toward the refurbishment as well, and this will be based on the GDV. Okay, the addition rate for a bridge is that a monthly rate, interest rate. Do you see any fees with coming out of the bridge as there usually is? Okay, this is a question from Peter. It's a good question. So in our product, there are no penalties if you repay the loan after 3 months. So the minimum interest that you need to pay is 3 months. But if you took a bridging loan for 12 months and you repay the loan after 6 months, you need to pay interest for 6 months. But it's monthly, not daily, but for 6 months. So there are no penalties. In terms of the fees are fixed. So you will pay the fees anyway, but the interest is based on the period that you took the loan. On our dynamic product, there are lower rates if you repay early. So it really depends when you repay the loan.
Another question from Nectarios. How do you confirm your purchase price is truly below market value, apart from recently sold data? Is there a feature that confirms this for you on the analyzer?
It's a good question. So you can use, yes. First, you can use our online valuation with the API of property data. So on any listing based on this area and like comparable sold properties and the parameters that we have on this specific listing in terms of property type, construction data. Okay, for this specific, I don't have data. We will estimate the value and the rental. But let me show you something that is even more, it's a bit stronger. Let's take this address. Let's assume that you are doing a BRR strategy. So you purchase the property, you perform some refurbishment, you improve the value, and then you use it as a buy-to-let, like you get some rental income. Then you can use the get estimation. So here you can see the before and after, okay? So let's say the type is the same, the constructed is the same. Let's say the internal area is the same, but let's say from 2 bedrooms, you are going to increase it to 3 bedrooms, and from below average to a very high interior finish quality. And then here you should get the comparison before and after. So before the refurbishment and after the refurbishment, and you can use it for the analysis. And this is based on this specific postcode analysis and use sold prices and comparables. Okay, I don't know why it didn't give me the results. Let's do only 2 bedroom flats to work. So yeah, the only change I made here is the interior finish quality. So I just modernized the house, the flat. Let's see it will work, if it will work now. Yeah, perhaps I have some issues here with the connection. Let's give it a few more seconds. In the meantime, what is the next question? Perhaps we can start answering it.
It's going to say the same, but I was on.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, we got it. Okay. You can see that basically it actually improved the value by 45K and the rental income by around 150 pounds-ish. All right, so this is a good feature to estimate value before and after. Again, it's just an indication, but it can be very helpful when you analyze deals or assess properties. Yes, Simi.
Okay. Another question. Have you got lenders that flow from bridge to normal loan? We do, yes. There's a handful of lenders, so they're quite specialist. Another question is, do you need to prove income if you're a portfolio landlord with more than 10 properties, or do they base it on the portfolio holding? We're a limited company. This is a really good question. So when you're an experienced landlord or a portfolio landlord, most lenders, they don't have an income requirement. What they will want is to see income on an application to show that if a property doesn't have a tenant, that you can comfortably cover that mortgage payment. So in this scenario, the lender would probably ask for at least 1 year's tax calculation, SA 302, to show income from UK land and property. There are a handful of lenders who will accept bank statements, but they'll want to understand why we don't have a tax return or something like that. So I would say for an experienced landlord, if you're using rental income for as your income, you'll need 1 year's SA 302. Another question is, do you finance buying a commercial with an underlying property portfolio? Additionally, would the platform in the future accommodate to a portfolio rather than a property in isolation? This is a really good question because I'll firstly answer the first one. So most lenders will want a cash deposit if you are buying a property, whether that's commercial or residential or a buy-to-let. And in terms of the second question, so some lenders have multi-property products where you can add multiple properties onto one loan. Currently, you can apply for that product through the platform, but it doesn't allow you to add the multiple properties. So that is something we're looking at working on to make it easier if you do have multiple properties. But if you do have something like that, just book in a call with myself or Leon, and then we can sort that. But yeah, definitely a feature that we're looking to introduce. This is a question from Mike. So I have both personal and limited company portfolio on Lendlord. Can I add team members to view, edit just limited company portfolio?
Unfortunately, no, not now. For now, you can only provide access to specific pages. So if you go to the team members module, you will see that you can either select the editor or viewer, but this is for the entire page. So if you want to give access to someone to your My Portfolio page, the only restriction will be viewing and not editing. We don't have right now like the ability to to select specific properties that you would like this person to view. Having said that, it's in the roadmap, but yeah,
I was going to say, yeah, that's definitely something like we'll work on because that's a really good idea.
definitely.
So what else do we have? How do we subscribe to the channel? So just if you go on YouTube and you type in Lenlord, there'll be a subscribe button underneath any of our videos.
Yes.
And another question is, how does additional borrowing on current residential property work versus bridging loan in terms of timelines? So really good question. Bridging loans on a residential property, firstly, if you're living in there, they're regulated. So not all lenders will offer bridging loans on a regulated basis. We do have options if landlord can't do it. So there's always options available. You can apply for a residential mortgage with us. You won't see the rates online, but you can apply directly by scheduling a call. So you can either refinance and move to a new lender where you capital raise, or if you're within your fixed period, you can take out additional borrowing or a further advance, as long as the affordability is met with your current lender. In terms of timelines, bridging loans are super fast. Landlord can get a bridging loan completed from 5 days to a couple of weeks, so very fast process. For a residential mortgage, a further advance or additional lending can take a few weeks to arrange. But if you'd move to a new lender, it's a whole application process. That's a little bit longer. What is overall bridging fees charged?
Yeah, I can take it. Basically, it depends on the size of the loan, but we usually will have like an admin fee. Valuation fee, it's based on like the property value. Like so, this will be several hundreds when you need to, you need to pay upfront. Then the legal fees really depends if also on the size of the loan, but also if you use dual representation, also if it's a limited company or private individual application. It will be between 1,000 to 2,000 pounds, but it can be for both sides, like if it's dual representation. Usually the legal fees are being deducted from the loan amount on the day of completion. So if it's door representation, I think this shouldn't be a problem. But if you use like your own solicitor, they will need to provide undertaking to the lender solicitor that the fees will be paid on completion. And then you have the arrangement fee, and the arrangement fee can be either added to the loan or deducted from the loan. Typically, it's 2%. Also, again, depends on the size of the loan. On mortgages, I think arrangement fee also can be added to the loan usually and varies between two to
Yeah. So for the loan, for the fees for a mortgage, so you have a lender's arrangement fee. Now, this depends on the lender. Some lenders will have a fixed percentage fee, which is based on the balance of your mortgage, or they'll have a fixed fee. So that can be from like 999 upwards. Something to bear in mind with the fees, when you add them to the loan, they get added to the total loan. So they don't get repaid over, 2 or 5 years. They're just added to your total mortgage balance. So unless your property is going to go up significantly in value, it's worth looking at the fees and the overall cost, because you might, have difficulty refinancing if your loan to value exceeds 75%. That's the only fee though that you can add to the mortgage. You might have valuation fees or application fees, and that can depend on the property value. They are paid upfront and they're non-refundable. And then you'll have conveyancing fees for the legal process. Depends on your solicitor, or some lenders will have them included in the product. And for a limited company mortgage, you might have an additional fee for independent legal advice and personal guarantees per director. And then also broker fees, because want to be completely transparent. So yeah.
Okay, let's take, I think, the last question, and then I think we can wrap this up, this webinar.
So this is a question from Jen. How do we work out the best family investment company, limited company setup to ensure it is as mortgage lender friendly as possible? This is a really good question. A lot of lenders don't like them, to be completely honest. I think you've got to look at the layering of the limited company. So, for example, lenders are fine with layered companies as long as they can figure out who the individuals who are liable for the mortgage are. So, for example, you'll have like an SPV structure, and then you might have a holdings company, and then you might have like some sort of trust element, but that's quite a small element of the structure. So it really depends, but not all lenders are okay with layered companies or trusts or anything like this. So it is tricky. It might restrict you from some lenders.
Okay, so before we go, just a reminder for the promotion of this webinar, we'll keep this session open for a while if you still want to upgrade. So go to the settings page or click on the link that we put on the chat. On the plan details, click upgrade. Then on the coupon field, enter Feb webinar, click apply coupon, and you will get the 50% off the premium or premium plus plan. Yeah, so thank you very much, Simi, for joining.
Thank you so much.
And thanks everyone. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to the Lendl team using the chat box in the app. Please feel free to use the new AI features and provide us with your feedback. And have a nice rest of day, nice weekend as well. And we will see you in the next webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.